All right, what's going on, everybody? My name's Eric Matta, again here from Substance Abuse Prevention Institute. And today I got a very special guest with me, JJ, and he's going to be talking about some peer support specialist stuff that he's done. And we're going to be sharing with you the top 3 reasons that we believe that every person in early recovery needs access to peer support. And if you stick with us till the end, I'm going to share with you how, if you have lived experience, you can actually become a certified peer support specialist for free. Yes, it's possible out here. Resources are available. And if you're interested in that, stick around till the end because we're going to be sharing that with you. So, JJ, thanks for joining us today, my man. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, a little bit about me. I'm currently at McKinley Hall as a peer support specialist. I've been doing it for about 2 years. With the journey that I've learned is that people need somebody that's at access at all times. A lot of times we go through struggles and we end up being by ourselves and we don't have nobody right there with us. So what a peer support is able to do is go there and not just go there with them, but have lived experience, not just book knowledge, but understand what it's like to be in the struggle.
Okay, so basically, so you're an Ohio State certified peer support specialist, right?
Absolutely.
How did you get certified to be a peer support specialist?
Well, how I got certified was I was at McKinley Hall as a case manager. And the opening came for being a peer supporter. So I went down to Dayton for a training. And when I went down to Dayton for the training, I had to do the hours online. And then after I completed the hours online, I had to go to a week-long sit-in learning session. And that's where they basically broke it down to us. And then after that, I had to get my background checked. And then I was good to go.
So a pretty extensive process then, huh?
Yeah, it had its extensiveness to it, but a lot was learned in it.
So how many years have you been a peer support specialist?
I've been a peer support specialist going on about a year now.
Okay, good deal, good deal. So this man has real, true lived experience. I've watched him in his position since he started at the treatment center, and it's just been really cool to see him grow. So I definitely appreciate you coming on today and rapping with us about what you think is very important for folks and why more folks need access. And the number one reason that I feel like people need access to peer support specialists is because somebody with lived experience has the gift and the ability to be able to tap into somebody that and give them hope that really can't be found anywhere else. You feel me?
Absolutely.
Share a little bit about that.
So basically, like, you see, you got this guy that's dealing with it. He wants to get in treatment, but he's got this felony. He's got this warrant.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not trying to go back into jail. So the thought of getting high seems like the thing to do, because as soon as you go to jail, you know, you have to live with all this stuff and you're by yourself. So as a role as a peer supporter, you're able to talk to the person. You're able to build a rapport with the person. Mm-hmm. Let the person know, I understand you got to go to jail, but in the meantime of getting you into jail, what if we can get you detoxed properly? What if we can get you, you know, in the point where you can go to jail and then still have classes and have somebody that's able to come visit you? Yeah. And then once you get out of jail, have someone that's able to facilitate you with the resources that you need to get your birth certificate, to get your ID, and to continue in your treatment, get into sober living housing if that's available. Yep. So things like this, to have somebody that's able to give them the access to what they need as far as resources and not just have them left by their own.
Most definitely. And I know right now, like, a lot of places are making a push towards peer support specialists. And right now there's peer support specialists, thankfully, in the treatment centers here in Clark County where we live. Absolutely. But I personally would like to see peer support specialists in the hospitals, in the doctor's offices, inside of the jails, you know, being able to go in and meet with folks and being able to say, hey, look, I've been where you're at, mm-hmm. and I know how to help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be. Because it's great that we have people with lived experience inside of the treatment centers, but if those people just stay inside of the treatment centers, like, that's not how you're engaging people. So, and I know you've got quite a bit of experience with that. So share a little bit with us about, in your role as a peer, like, what does engagement look like for you? Do you sit at a desk all day and just wait for people to come talk to you, or are you out here in the community working with people?
That's a good question. So absolutely, as a peer supporter, you know, like you said, getting them in the hospital, getting them in the jails, also in our low-income houses. Yeah. You know, what it would look like to have a peer supporter to be in a low-income neighborhood and be able to work with those kids that are in those neighborhoods that don't have nobody to look up to but an uncle that sells dope.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, when you look at it, a peer support is a dynamic position because it can be utilized in almost any place at any time if anybody has lived experience where there's a struggle.
Yep.
So, with that being said, so when it goes back to being at a desk, I'm rarely at the desk. Honestly, what happens is I get a sheet from the EMS of people that's overdosed within Clark County. And then what I do is I'll run out there and I'll go to the house and I'll try to engage with the person and see if treatment is an option that they would want. And if treatment is not an option at the time, we also, tell them about the one-to-one exchange program.
Yeah.
We give them other accesses that they can go into. And automatically we ask, would you be interested in Narcan?
Yeah.
You overdose, so is Narcan something you're interested in? And a lot of times people jump on the Narcan, and then a lot of times people jump on treatment. Sometimes people aren't ready, but what you do now is you give them a card and you giving them something that
plant the seed.
Well, if you ever go into a problem or you decide to go to an NA meeting or AA meeting or you just need somebody to talk to, want to get a cup of coffee, give me a call.
Absolutely.
Now they have somebody that they can call on in the midst of the struggle.
Right. Yep. So, in my role, like I've been in recovery for almost 10 years now. So it's not that I'm disconnected from the early recovery experiences, but to be honest, like a lot of things have changed since I got clean. And I know for me, the big thing that gave me hope in the beginning was seeing somebody that I knew personally, right? And they were clean. And that was like, I'll never forget. I saw that guy at a meeting and I instantly knew if he can do it, I can do it too.
Right.
So it's just like, and he didn't even share, he didn't even say anything. Just me seeing him was like, like there it is right there. Right. Like if this dude's doing it, I know I can do it too. The thing is though, in my experience, like I was a drug addict, you know what I'm saying? So me seeing a drug addict in recovery was the hope shot that I needed. Right. So, and I know you kind of have a little bit of a different background and I feel like you can tap into a different population of people. Share a little bit with us about that.
So yeah, my background is more is I was affiliated with organizations within the streets, gang affiliated, also selling drugs, incarcerated on and off, lived in foster homes, been in boot camps, been locked up, didn't have moms and dads, had people that took me in, but always struggled with the fact that that's not my family. Got married at a young age, still with my wife, Marissa. We've been married for 12 years. And honestly, what I end up seeing myself understanding is that as long as I've got somebody that I can talk to that can understand where I'm coming from, it gets me out of my own head.
Yeah.
Because, in early recovery of any form, whether it's mental health or it's addiction, a lot of times we get stuck with our counsel. And it's the counsel in my own mind. And see, if my mind's not established and it's not secure counsel, it could take me places that I don't want to go and keep me longer than I want to stay. So with the ability to have somebody that's been planted and rooted and got some time under their belt, that been through it and understand what emotion is, it's a game changer.
Absolutely, man. And I think like that experience right there is needed everywhere. And at my time at the treatment center, like I see drug dealers come in, right? And I would know they're there because they got in trouble and that they're there because they're trying to change. But at the same time, if I'm trying to talk to them about how to stop using drugs, but using drugs isn't their problem,
right?
I'm not reaching that person.
Absolutely.
And like I knew I wasn't reaching that person.
Right.
But back then there wasn't nobody that could reach that person until somebody steps in. And they're like, man, JJ, I used to see you in the streets. I hear people tell me all the time, man, I knew JJ back in the day. I'm like, I didn't know him back in the day. I know he's a good dude now. But, people would tell me, man, stories about seeing you in the streets and seeing you and the changes that you made. And I'm like, that lived experience, I'm telling you what, can touch somebody like nothing else, man. So I think definitely the number one reason that every person in early recovery needs access to peer support is definitely that lived experience. Just by being visible, being seen, not to even mention guiding somebody down the right path, but just like being in position,
present.
You know what I'm saying, goes a long way.
Absolutely.
And so number two, right? The number two reason, if you feel like there's something different, you definitely comment below. But I think that the second reason that every person in early recovery needs access to peer support specialists is because you need somebody to advocate for you.
Advocacy.
Right? And I know like when I first got clean, it was go to treatment, go to meetings, get a job, just like basic, simple stuff. But I'm telling you, like, I didn't know even how to like buy groceries for myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, tell me a little bit about the advocacy work that you do for people in early recovery.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the advocacy for a minute because, honestly, you got to think about it. When you sit before a judge for crimes and they lock you up, pretty much throw away the key,
Yeah.
but then they see you come out and they see your life changed, and then you're sitting there. I'll give a perfect example. I love Judge Moody, Honorable Judge Moody. I mean, you can sit in the courtroom, and she knew me from prior to,
Yep.
and she's heard the stories, but then she's able to see me come in, and when I say, hey, I'm working with this guy,
Yeah.
she's like, he's good to go.
Yeah.
Because she understands that, it's not
Yes.
just somebody saying they're working with somebody. There's lived experience here.
Yep.
I know what it was to be in a struggle. She sees me staying there, and she knows I'm going 100% in this whole thing, just like I did when I was in those streets. So just being able to have that report, speaks volumes within itself.
Yeah, man, definitely. And I know that being able to just be there and just advocate and just say, Your Honor, to the employer, to the family member,
Right,
to anybody, and just say, I'm working with this person, and when you do that, like, you're putting your name out there, you're putting your reputation out there. And I know that's not something you take lightly. So I know that being able to tell somebody like, look, I'm working with this person and I'm giving this person everything that I got. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I know he's putting in the work, or I know she's putting in the work.
Right.
So it's not like the peer is doing all the work. You know what I'm saying? So tell me a little bit about, like, what's the difference between helping somebody do something and doing something for them?
Okay, so that was a big struggle that I had when I was a case manager. Because as a case manager, it's almost like I took this case and I managed it. But when I heard about the role of a peer supporter, it's almost that I learned that I could support the peer so that they can begin to tap into those resources and know how to utilize the very things that I'm doing. So it's almost like more of a partnership that you have with them, whereas a case manager kind of does it for them.
Yeah.
I need my insurance. I need my food stamps, and they kind of go through the process and do it.
Yeah.
Whereas with a peer supporter, I'm able to say, hey, let's go down here. Hey, this is how we take the number. Hey, do you have any questions? And I'm able to advocate in a manner to where they're able to put some work in and gain the resources that they need.
Good stuff, man. And the hardest part about that, I believe, and the little bit of experience I have, the hardest part about that is being patient with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, it's much easier for me just to do something for you than it is for me to actually help you understand the right way to do something and why it's the right way to do something.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and
it
see,
takes
that's
time.
Why, and that's why being a peer supporter, it's that lived experience.
Yeah.
I know what it was when I was in that situation. So it allows me, to be a little more patient with them because I was where they was at 3, 5, maybe 10 years ago. So it allows you to be able to utilize those resources and you have what you need to help them walk through it. Whereas someone that's never experienced that, they'd be like, do you not get this? Do you not understand?
Yeah,
like,
man.
I know what it is to walk into a building and see all these writings and I'm like, do I really want to sign it? Because last time I signed something, I signed my speedy rights away and I didn't go to court for a whole year.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here trying to read everything on the paper, whereas I got a peer supporter, someone that's advocating with me. They're like, look, brother, it's cool. You're going to sign this and this is what's going to happen. And
Most
they kind
definitely.
of got a relationship with you, so it helps get the process going.
Yeah, man. And I'm telling you what, like, that simple process right there is like, is how you take somebody who is just entering treatment, who's unmotivated,
Right.
who doesn't know what to do, doesn't know the right steps. You throw them in a group with a bunch of people they don't know, and they got a probation officer and a judge and a counselor, everybody
that.
telling him what to do. And
Tell
it's
that.
like,
Mhm.
and it's like, man, just by building that rapport with somebody and saying, what is it you want to do? How can I help?
Right.
And I'm going to walk with you right step by step along the way, and just being able to help you. I'm telling you what, like, and I'm sure you can attest to this too. It's really cool being able to, you really only have to help somebody a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just support them a little bit, enough to get them motivated enough to want to do something for themselves.
Absolutely.
And then poof, they take
Absolutely.
off, they grow.
Yeah, I see that a lot as being a peer supporter because, my mom and dad, I done burnt the bridge.
Yeah.
My sister, my brother, I done burnt the bridge. The probation officer don't believe me. The judge don't believe me. And then here comes this guy that not only believes in me, but he's telling me that he knows that I can do it.
Yep.
And then with this happening, I mean, I've had times where, I've talked to somebody and then I'll call them at 9 p.m. and say, hey, I'm just checking in. How's everything going? and they be like, man, everything's going good. And, you know, they'll hear my kids in the background, and they're like, man, you're over with your kids right now. I said, brother, you my brother, man. I need to talk with you right now.
Yeah.
You know, so just them knowing that you got that love, because really that's what it is. They need to know that somebody still loves them. Somebody still believes in them. And that's what a peer support's able to aid in.
Yeah, man. And another thing that I feel like is important to share is that, like what you just described right there, like reaching out to somebody after hours, just checking in, make sure you're okay. Like that's something like that cannot happen from a counselor or a case manager because of the boundaries and the ethical crap that goes along with it. But like, that's how important peer support is, because like that's somebody who can reach out, and it's something as simple as a phone call or a text message, just to let somebody know, like, hey, I'm thinking about you, just checking in on you. How are you doing? Like that's what could be the difference between somebody like staying clean or somebody not staying clean.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So man, that's good stuff right there. The advocacy and peer support and having somebody in that position like is gold. Is gold. So that was number 2, right? And if you have anything different, please comment below. Yeah, they do have peer support for mental health as well. That's a great comment right there. And I'll share on that for a second. So JJ or myself, like we don't have experience as a peer supporter in a mental health setting.
I have mental health.
You got mental health background too? Good stuff. So, and I'll share with you, I know for a fact that that is an emerging need in the community, and there are resources, and I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. There are resources and there are programs and there's agencies out here that are working towards filling that gap right now. So stick with us. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Number 3, the third reason I believe that every person in early recovery needs peer support is the outreach, right? So I know that, again, your experience shows that you're not just sitting behind a desk all day.
Right.
You're not just attached to the phone at the desk all day. You are actually able to go out in the community and work with people. Tell me a little bit about what that's like for you.
Right. And, you know, I just like McKinley Hall, man, it's really a grassroots approach. So, you know, when they bought into the peer support, yeah, they want us to go out into the community. They want us to invest into the community. So basically, like I said, we did the OD list. So when I get the OD list from the EMS, I go out and I go to the house and I ask the people, you know, would you like to get into treatment? Is there anything I can do? This is my name, JJ Peer Support. And if they want to get into treatment, we're able to reach them. Like I said, 1-to-1, needle exchange. We're able to meet them in the need that they need. So, I mean, in every level, you know, a peer support, we're able to go out there where the need needs to be met. You know, a lot of times, you know, I talk about that even with our communities, like our low-income neighborhoods. You know, these kids come out and they go to, you know, I'll go to National City Trails. And life is great at National City Trails. But what happens when I come back to my same neighborhood and things aren't the same as it is in National City Trails? See, in National City Trails, I can, you know, grow, I can sprout. But, you know, in my neighborhood, I can't. So a lot of times it's what's planted where they're at. So being able to go to where they're at and give them the tools that they need and help them, you know, find that I can do this where I'm at is a great help.
Man, I'm telling you what. So kind of a unscripted question here. If you could plant a peer supporter anywhere in Clark County, anywhere in Springfield, that you feel like would add the most value to our city, if you had the ability to take a certified peer support specialist and say, you work here with these people, where would you put them?
I absolutely would put them in our low-income neighborhoods. I would put them in our youth programs, Eagle and Doves. I would put them in the Rock of Hope. I would put them in places where kids are at that don't have the structure that they need. You know, because we got so many youth nowadays that are growing up, and they're going to be our future. So if we're not able to invest in them now, then it can end up being a situation where they become lost later on. So anywhere we have youth at, I would plan a peer support.
You heard it right there. I mean, I think that that's definitely a huge need. And here's the thing, like there are probably 50 or 60 youth programs here in Clark County.
Absolutely.
Right? But just like you said, we take them out of their environment. Here, you come here to our building, our location, our facility where we're comfortable and we can help you here.
You got the games, the lightings.
Yeah, the games, the lighting, the fun, all that stuff. And then it's like, okay, guys, see you next week.
Right.
And then they go back home to where dad's in the streets, uncle's in gang. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they go back to that life, and then they see that life on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
And then they grow up a product of their environment. And
That's
then
right.
at 15, 16, they're out here in the streets. They're breaking the law. They're going to juvenile jail. They're going to adult jail. Before you know it, they're in prison. And before you know it, like now the system has to deal with these people right here. So I agree 120%, man. So I think that if anybody sees any possibility or any way that we can help get peer support specialists in the low income neighborhoods,
Rones, Sunset,
yep,
you know, because I see it a lot. You know, we got these kids that are talented in football.
yeah,
Like they're really skilled. But what happens is when they're on the football field, when the coach is there with them, they're the best. But as soon as they go back to the same neighborhood and their uncle just gets out who sells dope, they get caught with a pack and they lose their scholarship. Now everything's down the drain.
yeah,
The
man.
only way we're going to be able to stop that is to be that bridge of support. And that's where a peer supporter will be able to help them.
I think so, man. I think that, and again, it takes the right person for that. It's not like you can't just send somebody in there with a little bit of book smart. Like I read this book and now I'm this peer and like I'm gonna go out here and help. It's like that. It doesn't work like that.
Sold out. They need somebody sold out.
Yep.
Someone that's already investing in the community without even being a peer supporter.
Yep. Again, man, like that's why I chose you for this, because like you are the perfect example of peer support in action, right? Not peer support like you learn about peer support, you read stuff and you know the state will put out, but it's like this is peer support in action right here, man. So I think that we need more of you. Like I think if we could replicate you and put you here, like I think that honestly that's how you're going to create real change in the community. Because the city's doing a lot of work to make this place a better place to live, but at the same time, like I see the population of folks that we worked with, right? And it's an underserved population. There's a tremendous need. 4,000 people leave the Clark County Jail every single year. Whose job is it to help these folks? And who builds that relationship? And I know there's a lot of agencies out there that do that work, but I'm telling you, this isn't like a 2-week process. This is like a 2-year process. It's building relationship with folks. So man, I definitely applaud the work that you do, and I know that it's so valuable and that it touches lives. And again, like I've worked with folks long enough, and it's like you work with somebody and it's like you try and you try and you try, and it seems like no matter what you do, you can't get through to that person,
right?
And then like a year later you see him and it's like, oh, he's doing good now,
right?
And you'd be like, how in the world did you do? It's like, man, you remember when we talked about setting goals and staying clean and getting a job? Like I finally did it. And I'm like, oh, blessings. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the blessings right there. That's the good stuff. That's what I like to see.
Even like being a peer supporter, it's important to have that self-care.
Yeah.
And those boundaries, because there is a lot of times, like you said, you'll be working with somebody and they achieve so much. They get their wife back, they get their kids back, they got that job. And then all of a sudden they're back to ground zero.
Yep.
But the fact is, my love never changed from you when you was in ground zero to when you built all of that.
Absolutely.
The fact is, they need to know that they're loved, and that's what a peer support can offer.
Yep. Absolutely, man. So check this out. Like, so those are the top 3 reasons that we feel like more folks need access to peer support. Now, JJ works with us on Sundays at the OVI program. He comes in Thursday night and does some security because ain't nobody gonna get through JJ. JJ, he's gonna regulate. He's gonna make sure that everyone's safe when they come in. But on Sunday, JJ comes in, and specifically JJ, because he teaches a group on community resources and a goal setting group. Now I know that, see, at the OVI programs, like there is mandated curriculum there's stuff that we have to teach, right? And we cram all that stuff in to the early part of the program. That way on Sunday, we can give them the good stuff. And I'm telling you what, like Sunday is when the magic happens at the OVI program. Speak to us a little bit about the community resource group, the goals group, and how do you feel that that's beneficial to folks that have been charged with OVI?
Absolutely. So like basically I seen this on TED Talk, right?
Yep.
The guy was talking about superheroes and how superheroes, always have to wear masks. They have to hide their identity. They can never let nobody know who they are. So people don't know what it is to be a superhero. So when I go in there and talk to them, I try to let them understand that, just having resources, knowing the resources that are in your communities, can help you in so many ways. We begin to talk about how, first responders, they're dealing with people that overdose. They Narcan them. And then, an hour later, they might come back to the same person that's overdosing Narcan. So that compassion fatigue comes in, where they get so tired. A lot of times, we just normal, driving, we work, do whatever. We see somebody on the corner holding a sign saying that they need food. They got the dog with them. We automatically, through our compassion fatigue and seeing it so much, begin to be desensitized to the fact that some people really are in need.
Yeah.
So we pass by it. We might throw some change at it, some money to it. But what would it look like if we can give them a roadmap to success?
Yeah.
And see, that's what I'm able to give to them when we go through the first part, because we actually talk about, do you know about the community resources that are in your area?
Yep.
For instance, if somebody needs food, where can they go? And don't give me Job and Family Services, because Job and Family Services, a lot of times we put our eggs in one basket. What happens if Job and Family Services isn't something that they're able to grab onto?
Or they have 250 people a day reaching out to them
that.
say, I need food, right? That's how you get the disgruntled employees and you get that bad experience, because if I've got 250 people coming to me a day saying, I need help, 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 that's where that compassion fatigue sets in right there.
Right.
And, you know, the thing about OVI offenders is that I know from my own experience that you can go from a fully productive life, right, to drinking and driving or getting charged with OVI, losing your license, losing your job, and being completely thrown upside down, right? And most people don't have any clue how to tap into a food pantry or ride the bus, right? Or go to a education center to get some training to get a better job. You know, like these people have just been working their jobs, going to work, paying their bills, being responsible, being fathers, being, you know what I'm saying, doing all this normal stuff. And then their life gets thrown upside down by OVI and they don't even know how to respond. Only thing they know is, I can't drive, I'm going to lose my job, and I owe thousands of dollars to get this back, and I feel like everything is set up against me, right? And the cool part is, and I love sharing this with folks too, is that the community resource activity that we do with folks teaches folks how to use their phone, right? And Google, right? Food resources near me, transportation resources near me, education programs near me, GED programs near me, literacy programs near me, child care programs near me, and then like call somebody, hey, I need help. Do you guys help? Oh, you guys help people? Oh, I call. Oh my God, I can come today. And bam, like that can be the difference in somebody like completely losing everything that they've worked so hard for and letting this be a temporary setback to be able to bounce back and come out on top. I get goosebumps even talking about that stuff, man, just because I know, like, I didn't have anybody that taught me that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have anybody that showed me this is who you can tap into if you need help with this, or you need help getting a job, or you need help doing this. Like, I didn't have that. And I feel like that's why I spent so much time like using drugs, just like in a total complete waste of life space, you know? And
we
then
even talk about that with the families.
Yeah.
So you might got that sister that says, hey, I need to come live with you because I'm trying to get that deposit. And then she ends up staying with you, and it ends up being longer than just what she said it was going to be. So now you got to turn into the bad guy and say, hey, you and your kids got to go. So a lot of times, you know, they even understand from that point of view. So these resources are something that they need, and they're right at hand. A lot of people don't know where to look. If we don't know where to look, how are we going to get the help?
Absolutely. So on Sundays, we go from the community resource group and we immediately switch gears to the goal setting group, which is by far, hands down, my favorite activity to do with anybody, right? Not just with people with OVI, not just people in treatment, not just like anybody, right? Anybody. It's so important for anybody watching, or for anybody that comes to our program, or anybody that we interact with, to be crystal clear on what is important to you, what are your goals that you need to be working on, and have a clear list with tactical action steps that you can put in the work to get the result that you want. You know what's funny, right? So the goals group, we tell everybody, okay, folks, write down 10 goals you want to accomplish in the next 12 months. People write down 2 or 3, and then they'll sit there and they'll be like, I've never thought about this before. And I'm like, yes, magic is about to happen, because like when these folks get to thinking about what's important and what it is they want to do and put the pen to the paper, they're actually able to see like, wow, I do have goals. Like, and I can accomplish these goals. And then we say, okay, we'll pick the one goal that would have the greatest positive impact on your life, right? Oh, getting my kids back, getting a better job, getting my license back. You know what I'm saying? Like keeping my job, like whatever that one thing is for you that would have the greatest positive impact on your life. Okay, let's take that goal and let's create a bulletproof tactical action plan that you can use to accomplish that goal, right? And like, that's when people are like, oh, yes, I can do this, I can do that. And then switch gears, talk about who can help you do this. You know what I'm saying? Because we try to do everything on our own, and we don't even think about who can help me do what I want to do. We just think, I can't do this because this, or I can't do this because of that, man. So I'm telling you what, like, That is the icing on the cake right there.
Right.
It's the community resources and the goals. That's what people love about what we do. Right?
And I mean,
That's
like,
it.
yeah, and like what you were saying, you know, this might be my first time that I'm in a situation like this. I done wrecked, messed my car up.
Yeah.
Man, what am I about to do? I got all these core fines, got this different things. So a little bit like even that OVI survival pack that you got together.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
I mean,
We trying to help people.
right.
Trying to give them everything that
Every
they need, man.
step
because
by
like,
step.
yep. And
Right.
so that's it, man. Like, so JJ's he does Sundays with us. We love having him, man. Like, he is the man when it comes to peer support, the real lived experience. His story speaks for itself. His experience speaks for itself. So it's like, there it is, man. Like, that's why we believe that peer support is so
Absolutely.
vital and essential for anybody in early recovery.
Right.
And check this out. This is the best part about this whole talk right here. I know that early on, after I got clean, I'm like, oh man, I'm finally clean. I want to help people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went to college and like got 2 degrees and got, you know, my counseling license. And it took me like 6 years to get all that done. And now there are programs in place where you can become an Ohio certified peer support specialist that doesn't cost you a penny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are looking to become a certified peer support specialist, who you need to contact is Karen Burr at Clark State Community College. Karen Burr at Clark State Community College. They have just tapped into a gold mine of resources that help pay for folks to go through certified peer support specialist training. And like the information from her, I'm sure most of y'all can attest, she is the best of the best. Like she has trained some of the best counselors in the entire region. And now she's teaching the peer support class. And I'm telling you what, she's a gold mine of information. And I know that she's building something big right now. Like she works on big projects. So, and this thing she's building out right now is massive. And I know that if you're looking to become a certified peer and you've got real lived experience, whether that's with addictions or mental health, right? We need more mental health folks out there that are in the field that have real lived experience, that knows what it feels like to battle a mental illness and knows what it feels like to get the right help that they need.
Absolutely.
And to turn around and be able to help people that desperately need that help.
Right.
That, like, we need you. We need you out here. We need you to get
Absolute frontline
certified.
soldiers come.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is these folks get paid. You know, it's not just like in the beginning, I'm like, who can I share my story with that I might be able to help? Like for free. Will anybody even listen? Like you can get paid for that stuff.
Right.
And get paid good too. And you get connected and get to be around clinical teams and counselors and, you know, like, and really learn this stuff.
Right.
So if you even have the slightest interest in becoming a peer support specialist, reach out to Karen Burr at Clark State Community College, and she will sit down with you. She will talk with you one-on-one, talk to you about all your options, talk to you about how they're going to get the class paid for, talk to you about every step-by-step, exactly what you need to do to become an Ohio certified peer support specialist. Got a question. How long do you recommend someone to be sober before they become a peer support specialist? Very good question. So I believe that the state of Ohio recommends that somebody be clean and sober for 2 years before they become a certified peer support specialist. So I agree. Of course, I agree with that 2 years because that's what the state says. But at the same time, I would recommend that person have worked through all the crap that they have been through.
Absolutely.
Right? So for example, if someone has 2 years clean, but every time they get around people who are in active addiction, all they talk about is war stories and getting high and how they had the best dope and how they always used to hit licks and all that stuff. Like that person's going to have trouble as a peer. They're going to cause harm, right? So I personally would recommend, now this is just my recommendation, I would recommend having a sponsor and working the 12 steps or working with a counselor for a considerable amount of time. And working through all of the unaddressed issues and the character defects and all the stuff and the trauma that you've been through personally. That way, when you actually begin working with somebody, you have value, you have experience to add, and are not just like sharing war stories back and forth with each other. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like the disease is always down to get a 2-for-1. It don't matter whether you got a license, a credential, or whatever it is. Like this thing is very tricky. Right. So I would recommend definitely doing the work on yourself to make sure blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Therapist. Yep. So I definitely would make sure that you have done the work on yourself before you even venture down this path right here.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing. Karen, she will screen for that. If you haven't done the work, she's not going to let you get through the program. And I know that she will tell you that straight up. So I love Karen to death.
And
but
I would say also like having a strong support yourself.
Mhm.
You know, when you're a peer support, you're going to be carrying a lot of people's weight.
Yep.
So sometimes if you aren't at a good place and got yourself stable, a lot of times what you can do is take on the weight of somebody else, and it overloads you.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people it's very important to do self-care. You got to take care of yourself.
Absolutely, man. So they call that maintenance in the
Right.
peer support
So
world.
I mean, even like, you know, a plug for recovery.
Yep.
We got Recovery X. You know,
Yeah.
they have a place where you're able to go work out.
Yep.
You know, with people that are also trying to overcome this addiction. I mean, you got
Absolutely.
support all around you. Eli Glazer. I know you got all these people that are willing to get around you in our city. That's what I can say. That our city actually has people that have lived experience that want to wrap around and be holistically there for them.
Absolutely, man. That's it right there. So, like, look, peer support is a hot topic right now, and it's not going anywhere. It's going to continue to
Right.
evolve.
It's growing.
This man right here, certified peer support specialist in the state of Ohio,
Absolutely.
doing his thing out here on the clock, off the clock, on the job, off the job,
Right.
with a mission to help. Right. So if you or somebody you know has been struggling with addiction and you want to talk to JJ, drop a comment, send us a message. I'll make sure you can get his phone number and make sure
Absolutely.
you get his contact information. And I'm telling you what, he'll sit with you. He'll have coffee with you. He'll talk to your loved one. He'll talk to your husband, talk to your son, talk to anybody you want to share this message to try to help get somebody in treatment. Right. Because in reality, we know treatment works.
That's
right?
right.
That old lie, treatment don't work, all that stuff, that's dead. Treatment works. And there are people out here who are advocating for people in recovery, people in early recovery, for people that's out there using right now. Like, we know that seed needs to be planted in those people. And like, this is the man right here. So JJ, we've been rapping for what, 36 minutes, man. So I definitely appreciate your time. I appreciate your willingness. I appreciate your service to the community. I know that you are doing great things. And the best part is, you just getting started.
That's right.
I know you got a big vision, man, and you got the ambition and you got the drive.
Right.
So,
And for anybody that does have a heart for people, that's been out there serving people, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're a great plug for somebody. Why not get to be a peer supporter? Go get a hold of Karen Burr at Clark State and get signed up. Maybe there's a wait list, maybe there's not. But the fact remains is, start today.
absolutely. So everybody, thanks for watching. We appreciate the support. So one thing I'm trying to do here on our Substance Abuse Prevention Institute Facebook page is I'm trying to bring in different recovery resources. That way folks know what's out here, right? It's no secret. Like, we know services are out here, but I want to bring success stories. I want to be able to bring inspiration. I want to be able to bring tools that people can use to actually change their life. That is the goal. So I see the hater faces coming on there. So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. But I appreciate everybody that watched. Definitely thanks for your time. Leave us a comment below. If you got some questions, we'd love to hop back on here and answer them. So thank you everybody for your time. Have a good day. Done.
Out.